How's it gaming, guys? I'm Fill in the Blanks, and to be honest, I originally wasn't going to make this video. I don't really do reviews on my channel. It's very, very, very rare that I'll straight up make a video just to talk about something that I liked or disliked in terms of a game or a movie. I did Infinity War when that came out, for example. But man, Final Fantasy VII Remake is something. I think it's worth talking about. First of all, I want to put out there that there will be spoilers to this. If you really haven't beaten the game, then I really don't recommend watching this because a lot of this will have to do with its ending. And I think most people who've been paying attention at all to Final Fantasy VII Remake online knows that the ending is extremely divisive. So there will be some talk about that. But even just the regular stuff, spoilers, by the way. The footage will pretty much all be the demo I played a little while back, simply because I didn't record my playthrough of this game. I wasn't expecting to do anything, so I didn't record anything. So, apologies there. Also, this is not a full review that's like crazy long and like an analysis, and I'm not writing any of this stuff down, so don't expect a really, really well thought out, anything. This is just kind of me rambling. I beat it literally 20 minutes ago, so this is just kind of my stream of consciousness kind of going. Basically, let's start it off. Final Fantasy VII Remake is really, really, really good. It's super good. It's impressive how good it is. It's stunningly beautiful. The characters are fully realized. I loved all of the returning characters from the original 7, and like most of the brand new characters. I really liked Ms. Folia is like this really cute teacher who's got a little bit more to her. Marl is a decent character. Andrea is phenomenal. There's just a lot of fun new characters in this, and the returning characters like Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse are fleshed out so much more than they ever were, and it's such a delight to see them with extra bits to their personality, and in like Jesse's case, her past and that kind of thing. I love it. I hated Roche though. I hated him. He's such a weird character that doesn't belong in this game. And after, I think, Chapter 4, when you fight him 1-to-1, which, by the way, is a phenomenal fight. I really like that fight. No one mentions him again. He doesn't come back. He doesn't do anything else. So it's super weird that he's even in there. And he feels so out of place. He feels so weird with his, bike foo, which, let's be honest, looks really stupid. I get that characters are flip-flopping and skadotting all over the place, jumping around, crazy sword flips and all that. So it's not that crazy, I guess. I think it's the second you add a motorcycle to it, and he treats it like a skateboard, basically. It's kind of dumb. But whatever. I mean, as much as I don't like Roche, he doesn't impact the story. So I'm super okay with him being there as, just a... whatever, he's just a boss there. And again, like I said, his boss battle's super fun. I love the one-on-one Cloud versus a boss fight. You get 3 or 4 of them. You get 4 of them, I think, in this game. And they're some of the best fights in the game. I really like them. There's a tension, a chess match to them that I really, really enjoy. A lot of people were really afraid when they were going to release this game that it was going to be super short. Because, it's just the Midgar section of the original Final Fantasy VII. And that, in the original game, is only about 6 hours long, and this took me 38 and a half hours. I wasn't running through it like crazy, but I also wasn't taking a crazy amount of time. I think most people end up beating it around 33 to 35 hours, which is, I think, super respectable. I think for an RPG to go to 30 hours, at least 30 hours, is fine. I'm the type of person who doesn't really want games to go to 60, 70, 80 hours, so I'm perfectly happy with the length of this game. There is a little bit of padding. A couple times you go through areas you've already been to, and there's a couple times where the story straight up stops, and it's here's some side quests, and you have to do them now, or else you will not be able to go back and do them later. It turns out at the end of the game, you can go back and chapter select, so it's really not that big a deal, but I wanted to do it all in one go. So there's times where all right, let's go up to the plate and fight Shinra, but first, let's spend about 2 hours on side quests here. So that does slow the game down a bit, but I think that's perfectly fine. Midgar's section in the original 7 was linear purposefully. It's a very streamlined approach to the game's story, much more so than Disc 2 and onwards. Disc 1 is entirely linear, except for a part where you can go to Wutai. So I like that this game kind of follows that. I'm okay with linearity when it makes sense, and it makes sense in this game. So I understand why there's parts where it kind of has to stop and tell you, you can't go back. Sorry, that's just the way it is. There are a couple extra new parts of the story, which are usually pretty good. I won't talk about the ending, that'll be later, but there's a part like chapter, I believe, 4, when you go to the top plate and you go to Jesse's family's place. I loved that. That was great. I loved that Cloud got to see these 3 characters without Tifa and Barrett, and it was awesome. And you never really go to the top plate all that often in the original game, so to see it in kind of this light was really cool. You get a lot more chances to be able to see Shinra workers be people and not just the bad guys that you want to kill. And the game puts emphasis on that. And even the characters themselves, like Cloud and Barrett and Tifa, say like, there's normal people working for Shinra too. And I think that was super important. I really, really enjoyed that. There's also extra story beats or little extra, almost like dungeon style things. Like when you go up to the plate, that's much longer, and you get to see the impact that it had on people a little bit more. The Shinra building is much bigger, and I really liked its like little tour kind of thing to make it feel more like a corporate building. Gameplay-wise, that's another thing I was kind of going to be afraid of, because Square is kind of middling when it comes to its action RPG feels. Sometimes they're really good. Kingdom Hearts 2 is a great game, and it's super action and RPG-ish, and it's super fun, but it's messy. And Kingdom Hearts 1 especially was like really messy in terms compared to Kingdom Hearts 2. And Final Fantasy 15 is decent, but I never really got into the combat that much. The second I played the demo, though, I knew that this wouldn't be a really problem. I loved the way combat worked in the demo, and I love the way combat works in the full game. It's super great. All 4 characters that join your party, that is Cloud, Aerith, Tifa, and Barrett, feel different enough that they're all worth playing as for a little bit. In the original 7, that's one of my biggest problems with the original 7, is that all the characters feel basically the same. So you might as well stick Cloud, like Barrett and Sid in your party, because they have limit breaks that do tons and tons of damage. So there's no point to like a lot of the other characters, for example. But in this, you can still equip materia on all the characters and kind of make them whatever you want, but their innate abilities and the way they fight and their weapon abilities that change depending on what weapon you had, and you kind of get more and more as you go along, makes them all worth playing. Cloud is definitely the go-to guy that most people are going to play as, and he's super easy to use. Barrett's surprisingly fun as like a support character, but he's a little tanky, and I don't know, he's really cool. Aerith is completely redone for this game, and she's not super useless, and she's kind of fun to play as well. My wife loves playing as Aerith in fights, and she's really good with her because of just how well done they've made her. Tifa's my personal favorite character to play as. She's almost like a fighting game character. I love how she can build up her strength and combo all of her attacks, and she's a joy to play as, and I love just wrecking enemies with her. And just the fact that all 4 characters play so differently and they're so satisfying to play as is really a great step to see how the rest of the party in the later games are going to be like. I can't wait to play as Sid or Yuffie and Vincent and everyone else, and kind of see how they're going to play as. It's a shame you don't get to play as Red 13, even though he does join the party for a few hours. And it's weird because he clearly has the animation and skills and stuff, so I think they were pressed for time. They couldn't finish him or something, but whatever. He'll hopefully be playable in part 2 onwards. It'd be really stupid if he wasn't, just because like he's not humanoid, so it'd be harder to control or some lame bullshit reason that Square Enix would pull out of their asses. But gameplay wise, super fun. The ATB bar thing is super cool, and it puts a lot of stress on what your actions are going to be. You got ATB, are you going to use it on your abilities and your weapons and stuff like that, or you're going to hold on to it just in case something unexpected happens and you need to heal? And that happened to me quite a few times at the last part of the game. And I thought it was really cool that kind of a small amount of risk reward to what you use your ATB bars. If you're a full out offensive person, or you're going to hang back a little bit. Bosses are a treat in this game. There's so many of them too. There are so many bosses in this game, and they're all super fun. I think the only one that I really didn't like was Abzu. For some reason I had a lot of trouble with them, and after that the game got a lot easier. I think it's probably because I did so many side quests by the end that I could bulldoze a couple of the bosses, but they're a treat. They're all multi-stage bosses. There's a lot to them. They're flashy as hell, and they're very satisfying. The tank fight coming down the elevator in the Shinra building is one of the highlights of this game. This thing is a spectacular, dazzling thing to behold. It's super fun and satisfying to fight. Bravo. Overall, this game is super great. I love it. And I'm gonna go through a bunch of awesome little things that I think are just super, super cool. Isn't it awesome in the arenas, they do their actual traditional victory poses every time they win a fight? I love that. The PHS, which is the party handling system or whatever, in the original game, is in this game as an actual little like phone booth that you can switch parties with. It's such a cool idea. Every single enemy in the original game's Midgar is present here. The Hell House is there. The friggin' ghost on a chariot with the ghost horse is there. They're all there, and they make reasons as to why they're not regular enemies and they're bosses, and it's super cool. The dancing minigame. I don't even need to keep going. The dancing minigame's so good. Basically, there's just a ridiculous amount of great little things in this game. They really expand on the narrative a lot, which is something that I really think most people wanted, was, expansion of the narrative. I love how Wu Tai is a much bigger deal in this game than it was in the original. They started that off in Crisis Core, the PSP spin-off or prequel or whatever to Final Fantasy VII with Zack, and they really included that a lot in this, kind of using Wu Tai as a scapegoat to kind of restart the war and really showing Shinra's kind of plan in this. And I love that. That is all great, and the game is pure perfection almost until the very end. Oh boy. The crazy part is, and I'm actually really glad that usually when I have these types of opinions that I'm going to be going through in a second, I'm usually the one person in the world who seems to have that opinion. And that's fine. Everyone's allowed to have an opinion, and that's great. I just find I'm usually the guy with the opinion that no one likes. I feel bad because I'm like, shit, I'm just a negative guy, I guess. And I am, I get that. This is the one time where I feel like a lot of people really agree with me. I've talked to one person who said he was not bothered by the ending. That's it. He didn't love it. He just didn't care. And then everyone else I've talked to really didn't like it. And let's go over that. This is your last chance for spoiler warnings for things that aren't in the original Final Fantasy VII. So here we go. Throughout the game, if you've watched the trailers or played a little bit of the game, there's these kind of ghosty guys going around. And I was like, oh no, they're going to add crap. What are you doing? And they could have gone with an easy way with this, whatever. It's like with Roche. He's not a great character, but he doesn't impact the story. And I was kind of hoping the Whispers were going to be like this. Yeah, they're called Whispers, by the way, sorry. They'd just be kind of in the story, and then you deal with them, and then you'd kind of move on. But they're actually the entire crux of the story. It turns out that they're literally manifestations of destiny and fate. And every time something's not gonna happen like the original Final Fantasy VII, they step in to stop you. Okay, well let's not even go to the ending. Let's just talk about that for a second. That's stupid. Why? Because it takes away agency from the characters. Every time they're about to do something that's not the way it was in the original game, the destiny stops them. They were able to just about save the plate from falling on Sector 7, and the Whispers stopped them. Cloud could have beaten and taken down Reno at the beginning of the whole Eris chapter, but the Whispers stopped them. So it's not that, Cloud and his friends failed to save Sector 7, and now they have to deal with that. No, it's, they would have if it wasn't for destiny. Or Reno would have died because Cloud's such a badass, but destiny stopped him. It's stupid. That's ridiculous. You're taking all of the consequences out of the character's hands. It's lazy, first of all. I hate stories with destiny and stuff. It's very lazy. It can be done super well, but it's lazy. So whatever, that's kind of dumb. The game easily could survive with that. That's fine. It's right at the very end. In the original Final Fantasy VII, the end of Midgar is a bike chase scene and then a boss against Motorball. It's kind of not a big boss, but I mean, in the original game, this wasn't supposed to be the ending of anything. This was just the opening to Midgar. After you defeat the Motorball, you see the sunrise, you see the expansive world that's beyond Midgar, because you've never seen beyond Midgar at this point. And it's very uplifting, it's very hopeful. And then the game kind of starts its new chapter. And that's really how this game should have ended. Instead, you do the motorcycle sequence. You fight Motorball, which is kind of fun. I like how they made Motorball into an actual bike boss instead of a traditional boss. I thought that was kind of cute. And then it all goes to shit. So, all the spirits and the Whispers and all that start enveloping Midgar, and then Sephiroth appears, and he's in this game way too much, by the way. I think it's cool that he is in a little bit. He is kind of the main villain of Final Fantasy VII. You want to show him off, but he's in it a lot. But whatever. But then all of a sudden, at the end, he's like, "Hi, I'm Sephiroth, and Destiny's here, and blah. You come at me, Cloud." And then, like, there's a portal to an alternate timeline that Midgar's already been destroyed, and you're jumping through debris, and you fight this giant whisper. All the whispers go together and create this big Kingdom Hearts style friggin' Heartless, and you fight it. And then after that's done, like, Sephiroth appears and you fight him? And literally the ending of the original Final Fantasy VII game, where you're kind of drifting through this tunnel of consciousness and you fight Sephiroth, and like the one-on-one thing is done in this game. It's like, holy shit, did you really have to like blow your load right here? And that's stupid enough. You're wasting all the potential for all the big moments that are gonna be happening. So like later on in the original Final Fantasy VII, when you see the what is it called, the Zolom, it's a big serpent monster that in story wise you can't defeat at that point. You're supposed to run away from it, and it's this whole thing you have to get around, only to find that Sephiroth has just impaled it on a tree. That whole point, because you've only like heard of Sephiroth a little bit and seen the backstory with Cloud, that this was the whole point of that was to see like, holy shit, Sephiroth is so strong and he's ruthless. It's a big reveal. And now it's gonna be like, what the hell? Who cares? The guy tried to kill us on top of flying debris by shooting meteors at us, and we beat him. So who cares that he can impale a snake? So anyways, besides that whole bullshit Advent Children Kingdom Hearts fuckery, which is what it is, it's a long cinematic with everyone doing cool things for the sake of doing cool things. It turns out that this is apparently, like, they defeat Destiny and now things are gonna change. So like, they keep showing Zack. In the original game, Zack dies while bringing Cloud to Midgar. But in this version, he's not going to, I guess. And the whole thing, what most people are agreeing is this is Square Enix's way of saying, going forward, everything's going to be different. And that's the most pompous, arrogant slap to the face I think I've ever felt in, like, media. That's insane. I don't know. And it's not just like the whole, it might change everything. It's just the feel of the ending. Why does it need to be this big? Why does everything need to happen like this? I mean, if you've never played Final Fantasy VII, you still don't really know anything about Sephiroth. He just appears. And they're like, Sephiroth is the evil. He's the bad thing that's gonna happen to the Earth. We have to stop him. Why? He just is! And then you fight him. And I'm also sick of the whole, like, Destiny. Oh, Destiny's bad. Let's defeat Destiny. I'm like, I'm sorry, Destiny also, like, saved Barrett's life, because Barrett originally friggin' dies in this version. For some reason, he gets resurrected by whispers. It's like, there's no reason to be this upset with Destiny. Like, why are you guys all about the life stream and the planet going the way it's supposed to be, but the literal manifestation of Destiny is, like, evil, and I don't like that. It's the most arrogant thing characters can do in a story, is to take out Destiny. It's so stupid. And it doesn't help, too, that the entire game is, like, super written well, and then all of a sudden, it's written super poorly. Like I said, it's kind of Kingdom Heartsy. It used to be, like realistic characters, down to earth, things that could happen. You really care about them, to all of a sudden, like, Destiny has locked its chains around us, and the bonds won't let us free, and now you must fuck off! It's so stupid. Anyways, I'm not good at voicing my opinions. I'm just the type of person who throws around words like, I hate this, bad reasons, and I'm not good at really articulating why I don't like things. But I really think that the ending to this game really messed it up. It's like watching this amazing marathon race, and this one racer is doing so good, he's so ahead of everyone else, he's gonna break a world record, and he's approaching the finish line, and then he stops at the end of the finish line, and lays down, throws a temper tantrum, shits himself, racially offends everyone in the audience, and then wins the race. He still won the race, it was still a great race, but that ending was stupid. And that's what Final Fantasy VII feels like to me. That being said, I still adored this game, and when I replay it, I'm probably just going to stop at the end. I'm going to stop at that last save, and then just stop there. I have no idea what FF7 2 is going to be like. I don't think anyone does now, but all the worries that I had about Tetsuya Nomura-ing all this has now come back. When they showed off FF7 last year at E3, I really put that aside and was like, this is going to be great. And while the game was 99% amazing, all those fears are back. If they're going to use this whole time line things to screw everything up and bring Aerith back, or not even let her die, they didn't even let Zack die, what's the point of these characters anymore? A lot of what makes Zack important is his heroism, is his willingness to give his life for Cloud, to do all the heroic stuff he does. The whole point of Aerith was conceived to die. The original writers of the game said that. That's her point. That's why they made her in this game. And it was such a shocking part when she dies. If they just take that away, or oh god, they're gonna freaking Kingdom Hearts it, where she dies, and in the original game, Cloud gets really emotional. Sephiroth starts talking about his plan, and Cloud shuts him up. He says, I don't care about your plan. Aerith is never, sorry, I call her Aerith sometimes and Aerith other times. Aerith will never come back. She'll never smile or cry or laugh again. And Cloud starts crying a little bit. It's very emotional, and shows Cloud as a real human being. And I can just imagine in the remake, if they let her die, he'll come down and stab her, and he'll be like, no! And they'll fly at Sephiroth. It'll become a Dragon Ball Z fight where they're just flying in the air. And it's gonna lose all importance. And I'm really afraid that stuff's gonna happen now. So anyways, that's enough ranting. I'm sorry, guys. I hate to sound so negative about this because there's so much to like about it. There's so much to like about it. If you haven't played FF7, what the hell are you watching this for? But please go play it. It's absolutely worth playing. And it's absolutely worth experiencing the ending for yourself, make your own opinion on it, and then kind of let Square know. If Square knows that the majority of people really don't like the idea of them screwing everything up, then maybe they won't screw it up. I don't know. Anyways, tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Sorry if I hit a nerve or a sore spot with you guys, but hey, opinions are opinions. So anyways, I'm Phil in the Blanks. See you guys next level.